Hi, everybody. I'm here with Margaret McDonnell. I'm super happy. Margaret is the executive director for the United Nations Global Foundation's Nothing But Nets campaign. Margaret has been working on the campaign for the past 7 years. She lives in Washington. She's a mother of 3 kids. I've met her on several occasions. She's a wonderful person. I'm so happy to have you, Margaret. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks. Absolutely. And thanks so much to you, John. You've been an incredible supporter, and your energy and your creativity is really inspiring. And I also want to thank everyone who's watching, including all of your friends, family members, colleagues, fellow JCs, WordFast employees who have already contributed and been a part of this movement to end malaria, and who will continue to. So thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks. Well, I have a few questions for you. That's kind of the point of this interview. And what I wanted to start out with is say, okay, this campaign has been going on for quite some time, since about 2005, somewhere in that area. I know JCI got involved in 2008. That's when I got involved. I would like to know, are we making progress? What progress has been made since this all began on malaria eradication, reduction? Can you kind of give us some facts and figures? Because a
Absolutely.
lot of the people who are
Yeah.
watching this contributed, and I want them to know what kind of impact they're making.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much. So yeah, it's been an incredible ride. So Nothing But Nets got started in 2006, started with the Rick Riley article in Sports Illustrated. And at the time, a child was dying from malaria every 30 seconds. And so the campaign was really launched to provide a really basic tool, the most cost-effective preventative tool, which at the time was a $10 insecticide-treated bed net to help protect kids and families from the malaria-carrying mosquito that bites at night. And that launched this campaign. A lot of partnerships were born. It's super exciting. And over the course of the last 10 to 15 years, malaria deaths have cases from malaria have been reduced by over 60% over the last 10 to 15 years. So incredible progress. More than 7 million lives have been saved. And there's actually been a 71% reduction of deaths for children under 5 living in sub-Saharan Africa. So amazing. And that's largely because of the scale up and provision of insecticide-treated bed nets across sub-Saharan Africa, where 90% of the burden is, as well as in places like Southeast Asia and many countries in Latin America still are dealing with malaria. So there's been incredible progress. And we actually think that about 68% of that progress is because of bed nets. So they've been a game changer in terms of helping to reduce illness and death from this disease, which primarily affects, anyone can get malaria doesn't matter if you're Black, white, Muslim, Christian, rich, poor, anyone can get it, but it is mostly a disease that impacts the most vulnerable: children under 5, pregnant women, and people with compromised immune systems. So thanks again for all that you've done to help us protect people from this disease.
That's really great to know that. Thank you for sharing all of that information. I'd also kind of want to know, I remember at the time they were saying that, it was, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, there was such a huge healthcare expenditure that was going to malaria in uninsured areas. And I'm wondering what kind of impact that had on local communities in terms of the economy. When a parent no longer, has to stay home and take care of a kid, they can go in and work. And if you have any kind of figures about that and how that really helps just build an economy up, and so that it can kind of survive on its own and help these impoverished people.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, malaria has an incredibly debilitating, crippling effect at every level, at the family, community, and country level. So like I mentioned, malaria can affect anyone, but primarily the people most vulnerable: children under 5, pregnant women, people with compromised immune systems, and people who are poor and don't have access to health care. And so at the family level, we talk about, it used to be a bed net cost only $10. Now prices have come down, and we talk about for every $10 contribution, 2 bed nets can be provided. So, and that's everything from the purchase of the bed net to the supply and delivery to following up to make sure that families are using them properly. So it's a really small investment, and that has tremendous impact in terms of life-saving value. But so when people have malaria, they obviously can't go to school, they can't go to work, they're not able to fulfill, and pursue their dreams. And so we know that the family level, many families can't afford even, a few dollars because they may be living on $1 a day. So a $5 bed net might be, prohibitive. So family level, it's really challenging. And then we know at the community and country level, it's hugely impactful. So studies have shown that malaria actually is a cost of $12 billion or lost every year in economic productivity in Africa alone from malaria. So, and other research has shown that if we were to eradicate malaria, which is the dream, is the end goal striving for, we'd be able to save 11 million lives, and it would unlock about $2 trillion in economic productivity. So it truly is sort of a harness, a noose around the neck, if you will, around the continent of Africa in particular.
Wow. Another kind of question now, I've been doing this for about 10 years. We're doing this annual JCI challenge where we get together, we try and raise awareness and do some sports and raise some money for bed nets. Each year asking for a lot of people for donations, and I've got tremendous support from my network, which I want to thank everybody. At the same time, sometimes people get, tired and they wonder, is it going to keep doing this? When's this going to end? When are we going to do this? I'd like to know, where do we see ourselves going in the next couple of years? Are we at the tipping point now? Is malaria almost eradicated? Should we be doing this anymore? Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about what we can do today and how people can take action and why, if it is so important.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And, this is a really exciting time in malaria. We've made tremendous progress. As I mentioned, we've had 71% reduction in cases of children under 5 in sub-Saharan Africa. So we've made amazing strides. And we have this big, ambitious goal of eradication over the next 10, 15, 20 years. So I would say that, please this is not the time to take our foot off the gas pedal. In fact, it's time to drive harder and faster than ever before, because, we can imagine a world free of malaria. Malaria is the disease that has longest plagued mankind. So it has killed more humans in history than any other disease. But we know what it takes to make a difference, to make progress, and it's, eradication, malaria-free world is within sight. So I would really encourage people to, stick with us, because it would be an amazing feat, wouldn't it? To be able to say that we were the generation to end malaria. What a tremendous legacy that would be. And that's something that motivates me every day.
Maybe on a closing remark, and I'll let you go. I know you're incredibly busy. I mentioned earlier that you have 3 kids. I just had a newborn, and I'm wondering, what it's like as a parent, when you see a child is kind of helpless there, and you just, how does that impact you, and what's your thoughts?
Absolutely. No, thank you. So absolutely. I mean, I was motivated to get involved in the fight against malaria even before I had kids, because I saw the incredible tangible impact that something as simple and as inexpensive as a bed net could have in a family's life. It literally, I remember meeting with women who would say, one of my 4 kids was sick every week with malaria until I got an insecticide treated bed net, and now they can go to school, I can go to the market, I can work, etc. So I already was motivated. But since then, I've become a mother of 3 young kids. And I tell you, I mean, for me, bedtime is a sacred time, right? It's when you put your child to bed at night. It's when you it's a time full of routine. You sing songs, you read books, you have pajamas and brush teeth and rub their back and sing songs and whatever you do. And I know that for me, it's sort of change diapers. Exactly. But it's a sacred time, right? It's a time of almost relief. You can sit back and have a glass of wine and, catch up on but I can't imagine that for many women and men, mothers and fathers, grandparents, it's, bedtime is actually the time when they're subjecting their child to potentially life-threatening mosquito bite. And that haunts me, to think how lucky we are that we don't have to worry about that here. But for many mothers and fathers around the world, that is a real concern, a real possibility. And to not have the tools to be able to prevent that is sort of unconscionable. So it's important that motivates me every day. And hopefully it motivates others to, this is an injustice that we need to address. And we're getting closer. We've made so much progress, and it's, we truly can ensure that no child dies from a mosquito bite.
Well, I won't keep you any longer. I want to thank you again. I'm just going to switch screens into a website. You can go to NothingButNets and you can find out where you can make a donation, how you can even join a team. You can join their Champions program to do advocacy around the world. You can also make a donation for our JCI Challenge project. So go to this website and you can see what we're doing and why we're doing it, and we love your support. Margaret, thanks again so much for taking the time out of your busy day to talk with us and share all this information. I hope to see you soon.
Absolutely.
And
yes, please. Well, if anyone's ever in DC, let me know. And thanks again. We're so appreciative. You all are the backbone of, we couldn't do what we do without you. So thanks so much, everyone, for being a part of this important cause. Really appreciate it. And more importantly, the kids and families who are protected from malaria appreciate it.
Thanks, Margaret. Take care, everybody, and make a donation. Go to NothingButNets and let's help eradicate malaria. Goodbye, good night.